So another Dying Light game was something I was not expecting at the Game Awards this year, but it seems like it's something that's going to happen, and we're going to be getting it sooner than we think. And I saw the trailer for the game; looked impressive. It looked like they expanded upon the features that made two an attraction. Although Dying Light 2 it sold significantly less than the original Dying Light game from 2015 because I think Dying Light 2 did like 5 mil in sales, Dying Light 1 did 20 mil in sales. But 5 mil is actually pretty good by today's standards. And Dying Light 2 only came out like 2 years ago. I think it came out sometime in 2022. And and I feel like Dying Light, for the most part, is going to continue to be one of the more popular video game franchise of the 2020s decade. And as far as Dying Light, the Beast is concerned, a lot of people have high hopes for this game because, like, the story itself looks like it's really interesting. It's something that people can sink their teeth into, and the reason why I feel like this is going to be a game that people are going to get into is because they brought back the original protagonist from the original Dying Light game, Kyle Crane, and I think the reason why Techland has decided to do that is because the other protagonist from Dying Light 2, Aiden Caldwell, probably was not as popular as Kyle Crane. Also, it's quite possible that as we get more Dying Light games, um, the makers are going to switch like the protagonists around. So like every installment might have a new protagonist, or they'll bring back, other protagonists, similar to how Resident Evil has been, where I guess like sometimes they'll bring back like, older protagonists, but they'll have them in a guest role or in a side role or what have you. But Dying Like the Beast actually looks impressive. And even though this game is touted as an action adventure role playing, shooter type of game. It's also a survival horror type of video game as well because you have to deal with hordes of zombies while trying to stay alive, similar to the last two Dying Light games. And and based on what we know, Dying Light the Beast is actually supposed to be a standalone game because I know there have been a lot of people saying, is this a DLC? Is it its own game? Does this count as, Dying Light 3? I guess, Dying Light the Beast, it's a standalone game. I'm not exactly sure whether or not we can call it Dying Light 3, but for the time being, I guess that's what we're going to call it. Even though, because I feel like if it were Dying Light 3, they would just like say it's Dying Light 3 opposed to just saying, Dying Light the Beast or whatever. But this is supposed to take place about 13 years after the events of Dying Light 2. And the main villain is someone named Baron, or, that's what he's known as. I think his real name is Maris Fisker. And pretty much he had did like horrible experiments on Kyle Crane for 13 years. And I guess Kyle was able to escape and yeah, basically, like he is the main protagonist in this game, while the Baron is the main villain. And I feel like with the Baron, there's a lot of character development that's going to be going into, I guess, like, getting people more familiar with him in this game. And I think that's something that's a good thing because you have like video games nowadays that lack character development, especially when it comes like to the main villains. Cause like, you just know, like, the main villain is just whoever. And I guess, you're just supposed to, you know the story as to why they're the main villain, but there's not like, there's not so many details on why certain characters are villains in certain games. At least I could say that with like other like video games, whether it be like Halo or anything like that. You like Halo is story driven, but I don't think there's too much backstory on the villains. It's just, different hordes and I guess groups of people are feuding with each other for whatever reason. So, I mean, video games, get that aspect of storytelling, right. But as far as character development is concerned, I feel like Dying Like the Beast is going to be something special. And as far as sales is concerned, I'm not exactly sure what to expect. I'd be shocked if Dying Like the Beast surpassed, 4 or 5 mil, seeing how things have been in in the gaming industry as of late, because it seems like most video games struggle to surpass 3 or 4 mil nowadays. And I'm not exactly sure why that's the case. A lot of people feel like there's something going on with the gaming industry. Maybe the cost of gaming is too expensive. Maybe people are not as interested in gaming as they used to be. Either way, like Dying Light games for the most part have not been disappointments at all. And and I know, like, Dying Like the Beast is classified under multiple genres, like adventure, role playing, all that stuff. But to me, it kind of, yeah, it's not dark enough to be solely classified as a survival horror, even though there is like survival horror gameplay in this. But I feel like it's a game that's within that genre that would stand out in relation to 2025, because I don't know too many high profile survival horror based games that's coming out next year. A lot of people had said that Silent Hill F might be coming out next year, but there's really been no proof of that, and I don't think Konami has necessarily confirmed that as of yet. But there are more video games on a lot of people's radar in relation to 2025 that people are looking forward to. Like I've mentioned in previous videos, like Doom: The Dark Ages, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Metal Gear Solid 3 the remake. Um, like you also have like Little Nightmares 3 that's supposed to be coming out next year. There's a lot of games that's coming out. You also have GTA 6 that's coming out next year. There's a lot of games within the action adventure genre that could definitely overshadow Dying Like the Beast. In fact, I feel like this game probably would have been better off if it came out this year, because it probably would have shined more, because 2024, even though it wasn't as good as 2023 in relation to video game releases. It was still a pretty like solid year for the most part. And I think the Game Awards may have named Astrobot as the game of the year, which is, it is what it is. I mean, it's a pretty fun game, but some people might disagree with that, or some people might take issue with that. But, you don't see a lot of like, fun, video games that appeals to casuals nowadays. And, maybe that's one of the reasons why that game, won as one of the best games of 2024. But as far as Dying Like the Beast is concerned, I could see this game doing at least like 3 mil in sales if marketed correctly. And if we're getting modified gameplay in comparison to what we got in Dying Light 2, which came out in 2022, then I feel like a lot of people are going to want to check this out, because we have no idea when the next Dying Light game is going to come out after Dying Light the Beast is released in summer of 2025.